give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. You have power. You have power. And don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before. You have the capacity to do extraordinary good in the world.
This line moving. Next. All right, ma'am, you're leaving the country because Trump won. Where would you like to go? Azerbaijan. Spell it. You ain't got no business being there. Rejected. Get out of my line. Next. All right, sir, you're leaving the country because Trump won. Where would you like to go? Japan. Are you willing to be part of the repopulation program? Yes, sir. We are offering free flights to those who are willing to help repopulate. If you work through the night, you get the flight. All right, approved. Go get them, big dog. Next. All right, sir, you're leaving the country because Trump won. Where would you like to go? Spain. But you're black. Estás a punto de aprender. Approved. Next. All right, ma'am, you're leaving the country because Trump won. Where would you like to go? Johannesburg is not a country. That is a city. Yes, it's in South Africa. Okay, well, get Tyler to come pick your ass up. Approved. Jesus. Next.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amoni, aka Petite Diva. So it is official. Donald Trump is going to be the next president of the United States of America. He's going to be the 47th president of the United States. And this was possible because he beat Kamala Harris at the polls at the election that just held. And quite a lot of people have things to say about the whole election, Trump winning, why he won, why Kamala Harris lost, and so much about the whole election. So let's check out what they have to say, and then I'll come back to share my own thoughts.
Y'all want to know why she lost? I'm going to tell you why she lost. The Democratic Party literally had the worst marketing strategy in history. Like, I saw this loss coming like a mile away. He's racist. He's racist. He's racist. Your candidate is a woman. This country's far more sexist than racist. Far more. So there's that group of people that are just automatically going to vote the other way. Then you lost the plot completely with black people. I haven't seen pandering this tacky since Hillary Clinton pulled that hot sauce out of her bag. You had Joe Biden on his first campaign talking about if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. Who the fuck? Kamala done turned her freaking rallies into the BET Awards. You got Meg Thee Stallion twerking on stage, Glorilla on stage bleeping out every other word of her song because she can't even rap her actual lyrics. Then completely lost the plot with women. You got swinging around kids' locker rooms and women's locker rooms. People who identified as a man yesterday and identify as a woman today are whooping women's sports, women having to encounter periods and testosterone in situations that were once sacred to them. Add that to the fact that y'all originally showed up with the same candidate who we watched falling all over himself in the street, slurring his words and losing his train of thought mid-fucking press conference, and y'all still picked him, although y'all had Kamala as vice president at the time, which means even y'all knew she wasn't going to win this. But y'all threw her in the game fourth quarter anyway. Then you got the everyday Democrat thinking they could bully people into voting their way, which is actually turning people off and running people out of the party. Mind you, election happened while everybody's hungry and broke. Rent was just due. Mortgages was just due. It's after the first, and we've been under this leadership for 4 years, so it feels like it's because of them. Then the Republicans keep stopping us. We can't get anything done because Republicans keep stopping us. So what's the point of voting for you if you can't get nothing done? Y'all gave Donald Trump a freaking Supreme Court seat when y'all let Ruth Bader Ginsburg die at damn near 100 years old in the freaking Supreme Court. It's very, very clear the Democratic Party has just been raw through life for a minute. Mind you, I voted Democrat for 16 years straight. This is Barack Obama's first presidency. But I knew how this was going to go. And she ain't just lose, she got her ass whooped. I'm talking about when I went and looked at the states, how the states were voting that were remaining, he was going to get over 300 electors. Like, she was getting whooped.
When they yelled out Jesus is Lord and she said you at the wrong rally, yeah.
So yeah, the exit polling is telling us that black people tried to save America. Nobody else helped. That's what I see in these exit polls. Black folks tried to save America. And listen, it is documented. I went hard, made some think pieces about my fellow black men and being like, because I needed to see this number. We have a thought process, I think, in the black community. You're not going to talk crazy about us and we vote for you. Like, this is not how that's going to work, right? Clearly, the Hispanics and Latinos do not feel the same way that we do. Because this is what I don't think is clicking. When Trump says he wants to deport 25 million people, there are not 25 million undocumented people in this country. And so who are they going to come for? Latino men, Latino women. And 54% of Latino men were like, when I went to sleep last night, I kept saying, like, I don't understand. And it wasn't like I live so deeply in my blue bubble that I just can't fathom. Like, it's literally that pollsters have tried to overcorrect for how they messed up in 2016. So in the last few cycles, they have been overcorrecting around Trump votes. And so you mix that with some reliable pollsters who have said some things. Some of what, as I dug into the polls themselves, what I thought was an over expectation of certain turnouts. Like, you put all those things together, I was expecting Kamala Harris to overperform the polls. I was not expecting Donald Trump to overperform the polls. And that's part of the problem we have here, is that Donald Trump significantly outperformed the polls.
Let's talk about why Kamala lost the elections from a PR and marketing perspective, because the Democrats seriously fumbled the bag with this one. They put a woman up against Trump when this wasn't the election for this type of strategy, and the way they handled the platform made things so much worse. The first mistake was misreading the opponent's base. The Democratic Party underestimated Trump's base, especially amongst male voters. Trump's brand is built around being a man's man. He's locked into that audience. He's at UFC events, got the support from Elon Musk and Joe Rogan, both major influencers within that demographic. Putting Kamala against that, it was an instant mismatch. She didn't have the influence that Trump has, and the Democrats ignored how this market just didn't align with her. Basic marketing rule: don't launch a product into a market that isn't receptive. And this election cycle was a risky launch for a female candidate, especially against Trump. Issue number 2, inconsistent brand voice. Kamala's branding had serious issues. Her voice came across as polished but inauthentic, and it felt like her messaging kept shifting depending on the crowd. And then there's her stance on international issues, her being pro-genocide. The decision was a huge misstep from a PR perspective because it alienated key Muslim and Arab voters. They lost a key segment there. Instead of listening to the community, Kamala's stance made them feel ignored. Let's not forget when she said, "I'm speaking." While at first seemed empowering and powerful, quickly became as if she was lecturing the audience, which further isolated her voters, which any marketer would tell you is a disaster when it comes to brand loyalty. Mistake number 3, over-reliance on celebrity endorsements and overconfidence. The campaign leaned way too hard on Hollywood and celebrity endorsements, which kind of made it feel staged. There was too much focus on trying to get every single celebrity endorsement out there, which made it come off as calculated and inauthentic. Voters today, they're savvy. They can tell when something's overly produced, and this strategy seriously backfired. And let's not forget that Kamala's campaign and the mainstream media were being overconfident. They acted like her win was guaranteed from day one, just like they did with Hillary. This overconfidence ended up alienating undecided voters who didn't appreciate being told that the race was already decided. Mistake number 4, a weak core messaging. Kamala's campaign seemed to focus on the fact that she was not Trump, instead of real and specific solutions. As a marketer, you should know that you shouldn't just sell a product based on the fact that it's not the other product. You don't point out the competition's flaws. You have to show what your product brings to the table. What's your USP? Kamala's platform lacked a compelling vision, and the voters noticed. Without a strong and positive message, the campaign couldn't build a solid base of support. So from a marketing and PR perspective, this was a major missed opportunity. The Democratic Party took a gamble on a female candidate against Trump, and they didn't have a strategy to back it up. They alienated key communities, leaned too hard on celebrities, and didn't offer voters enough to believe in. Next time, they'll need a much sharper focus on the audience, message, and authenticity. Because voters are customers too. And if the product doesn't resonate, no amount of star power can save it.
Something about Kamala not coming out last night to just address everybody low-key made me feel some type of way. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, people have been fighting for their lives on this app defending this woman, going through great measures to defend this woman, sending in literally like $40 million to support this woman. And you mean to tell me that you couldn't come out for 10 seconds and just be like, thank you everybody for your efforts. I love y'all. Good night. People stood outside waiting for that lady for hours. It's cold as hell outside. People was outside crying, genuinely hurt, heartbroken. And you can come out just to be like, thank you.
Trump won. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to spend the next 3 months spewing false rhetoric about how, oh, that was stolen or rigged or the machines didn't work, right? Whatever. He won. Am I happy with it? No. Am I going to live with it? Yes. All I ask is for one thing. If you voted for Trump or you did not vote and you don't have a very legitimate reason as to why you could not, you need to stop complaining. I do not want to hear you whine, bitch, or moan about anything that happens in these next 4 years. I do not want to hear that your groceries got more expensive. I do not want to hear that you have to pay more in taxes. Republicans now have control over the judicial, legislative, and executive branches of our government. That's all three. This means that for the next 4 years, they can basically unilaterally pass whatever legislation they decide to cram through with little to no opposition. Whatever happens in these next 4 years is a direct representation of a purely Republican-ran government. So there's no more complaining about Biden. There's no more whining about the Democrats. There is no one to blame other than the people that you voted for. So congratulations, Trump won. I genuinely hope for the best for everybody and for this country. But I do not want to hear about it from you if things get worse.
Kamala Harris did not lose this election because she's a woman or because she's a woman of color. And I'm seeing a lot of Democrats place the blame on her identity rather than actually taking accountability for the failure of a campaign that they ran. Democrats all across the country base their campaign on not being Trump, on abortion and identity politics. And unfortunately for them, that's not enough to persuade people to vote for you when they can't afford their groceries. And I'm not saying Republicans ran a great campaign. I'm truly somebody who's in the middle. I'm a moderate. I'm looking at both objectively. But I think the writing was on the wall with Kamala's campaign when she wasn't able to distance herself enough from the Biden administration. People made her be the face for the life that they're living now, which they are not happy with. If Democrats refuse to learn from this election, they will continue to lose to Republicans because Republicans have become the party of the working class. The Democrats purposely kept Kamala back at the beginning of this campaign. They were hesitant and took too long to release policy positions because they wanted you to project who you wanted Kamala Harris to be onto her and then go and vote for that. But when the economy is not in good shape, when immigration is a problem, that's not enough. Like it or not, when Americans look at Donald Trump, they know who he is. And when they look at Kamala Harris, they don't know who she is. So if the Democratic Party were smart, they would step away from identity politics and stop allowing their party to be ran by elitist ideologues and come back to a common sense messaging that resonates with the average working class voter. So with that breakdown being done, I do just want to say this. Whether or not you are somebody who is happy about the results from last night or sad about it, I highly encourage you to have a conversation today with somebody that you disagree with. Because the fear-mongering is done. The propaganda from campaigns is over. So now is the time to find out what the truth actually is and what it isn't. And we cannot find that unless we start to actually have conversation.
I'm going to show you guys why Donald Trump is so popular using Kamala Harris as an example. So Kamala Harris was asked how she intends to fix inflation, and this was her answer.
Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up, and families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up. That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry. So it is something that we take very seriously, very seriously. And we know from the history of this issue in the United States that when you see these prices go up, it has a direct impact on the quality of life for all people in our country. So it's a big issue, and we take it seriously. And it is a priority there.
And so what does that clip have to do with Donald Trump being so popular? I'm going to tell you guys why. Donald Trump is not a politician. He is arrogant. He's a megalomaniac. He has obvious signs of narcissism. He knows nothing about policy whatsoever. He doesn't know anything really about politics. He says the quiet part out loud multiple times. And he does not care about his constituents. He also is clearly not fit to lead a country. But his arrogance allows him to think that he can. Many of these qualities are relevant to almost all U.S. politicians, whether they're in the Democrat or Republican Party. However, seeing that they're politicians, they know exactly what to say in order for them to seem competent and as people who actually know how to do their job. But the fact of the matter is that almost all politicians in the U.S. are paid off by lobbies, including Kamala Harris. And they do exactly what these lobbies want them to do, even though they typically go against the interests of the average American. And so while they will tell us one thing, they do another. But Donald Trump does not do this. He tells us exactly what he's going to do and doesn't mince words. And even when this policy is clearly harmful and not for the betterment of the average citizen, including his followers, especially the people who support him, he's not necessarily lying about his intention. And that is why he is so popular, because he shows his incompetence, his intolerance is clear for us to see, his ignorance of policy is obvious, but he doesn't try to hide it at all, unlike most other politicians in the United States.
In 2024, if Kamala loses, Democrats are not going to attribute that to her being a poor candidate, even though everyone knows it. They're going to attribute that instead to, well, she had a short campaign window, maybe it's Biden.
Kamala Harris has been running for 107 days.
Well, the internet, well, Elon, well, Trump was probably colluding with Russia again. For Democrats and Republicans in 2005 said Kerry was a bad candidate. In 1996, Democrats and Republicans, after Dole got clocked, they're like, wasn't a good candidate. The good news about that particular take on elections is that it means, okay, well, if I run a better candidate next time, then maybe I'll win.
When I look at her in her face and when she was talking to me, I really felt like she was very genuine. I felt like she was not playing no fucking games. And she had 100 days to do all of this. And she woke this nation up. She woke this nation up. I feel like there was a lot of things that went wrong. I feel like last year they kept her too much in the background. And a lot of people were asking, but what was Harris doing? What was Harris doing? And I know for a fact that she just didn't have much power last year. I feel like they kept her a lot in the background last year. And I feel like they put her in a position this year to practically save the day. And she did a lot. Academics at the Trump record. Academics is crazy. And I'm proud of her, and I hope that she's proud of herself.
Donald Trump is going to become the 47th president of the United States, and while I wish the outcome were different, I accept and I respect those results nonetheless, because that is how democracy can thrive, that is how our country can move forward as one. So my message to MAGA Republicans: congratulations. You folks should be so proud of yourself. Listen, you had a hard-fought one fight, right? This was the epitome of a food fight. You carried yourself across the finish line. And while I don't agree with you on policy, and I think the character of your candidate is whack, okay? Like, y'all could pick Nikki Haley or something, but anyway, point being, congratulations. Over these next 4 years, okay, you are going to take action that is going to significantly impact the lives of those around you when it comes to the right to choose, the right to love, when it comes to our economy, healthcare coverage, when it comes to law enforcement, when it comes to veterans. I hope that as you make these decisions, I hope that you keep the American people at the forefront of your mind. I trust you will. And if you don't, we will hold you accountable for it. But I trust you will. To the Democrats and Republicans tuning in who voted for Kamala Harris, know that you should be so proud of yourself. You should be proud of the work we put into this campaign. You should be proud of the effort, the time, the energy, the motivation, the momentum that we put forth to carry Kamala Harris across the finish line. And even though we did fall short this time, know that there are battles ahead of us, and we are going to succeed as we continue further down the road. Because what we have been saying for weeks remains to be true. When we fight, we win, and we will win.
I feel like if you're still voting for Kamala at this point, or if you have voted for Kamala, you lack intuitive abilities. Not only is it unintelligent, and I'm really sorry, that offended people, but it is. It's unintelligent to think that she's a good option. Not only is it unintelligent, but you lack intuitive abilities. Because you can't tell me that you can genuinely listen to her and Walz and get a good feeling from either of them. Every time I hear them speak, every time I see them or hear them speak, they irritate my soul and my spirit on such a deep fucking level because of how fake and inauthentic they are. Especially that Walz guy, there's something majorly off about him. He looks paranoid as all the time. Like, I don't know how people aren't picking up on that. You can't look at a photo of someone and pick up on their energy and, like, feel them, like, feel their character and their intentions.
I know I could lose my entire following for what I'm about to say, but it needs to be said. You do not have to go to church every Sunday to have a good, strong relationship with Jesus. And I'll be honest with you, I don't go to Sunday church. I have no intention of going to Sunday church. I practice my love for Jesus and my relationship with Jesus and following in Jesus' name and his word in my own way. With that being said, what I have learned in my personal relationship and trying to read the word and learn on my own is that the worst sin you could ever do is turn him away in a crowd of people. That leads me to Kamala Harris. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I was a Trump supporter before, but at the same time, I could sit with anyone that's as liberal as it goes, and I'm totally not, and have coffee and listen to their opinions and literally be intrigued. Not demeaning, not sarcastic, interested in the way that they think. I'm very open-minded. With that being said, you're running for president. The #1 pop star in the world posted on a platform saying she was on your side. And you have the gumption and the nerve to disrespect my God in front of the entire country, the whole world, matter of fact. I'm pissed. I'm pissed. So shame on you as the first actual potential first woman president. Shame on you for telling someone that at the wrong rally because they spoke of the Lord. It doesn't matter what subject you were on at the rally. You made it point blank period that you would disrespect my Lord and Savior in front of God, the world, the country, everything, the whole universe.
Now, personally, for the past like 12 years, 3 elections since Hillary Clinton contested against Donald Trump the first time that he contested, I've kind of been able to like guess who would win, even though I'm not an American, because most of the time I don't look at the mainstream media and what they're saying. I check the comment sections of so many places. I will check some blogs, I will check newspaper sites, I will check influencer posts, I will check videos that people are just making, even if it's just skits based on things that have happened during the campaign, and I will see what people are saying, not just what the media, what the mainstream media is saying, because I noticed that the mainstream media in the US always have like a bias, and they would show what is relevant or what they feel would boost their preferred candidate. So I don't like looking at those ones to have a feel of what is going to happen, but I like looking at the comment section of different places that are not like political, and then you will see the reasons why people would vote, and you have an idea of how the result might be. And based on what I've been checking, even though it's a small database or small collection of information that I've got, I always seem to know the person that would win. And for this election, it was obvious to me that Donald Trump was going to win. there were so many things that I saw people attacking the other side, attacking Democrats, attacking Kamala, and I don't think the Kamala Harris team looked at all these things and tried to like walk around it and try to understand what people were saying. Now, her campaign, to me, this is just me and my personal opinion, I felt like it was not attacking or giving attention to the problems that a lot of the common man, the working class people were saying. Now, our campaign, to me, looked very elite, looked very celebrity heavy. I think they were more focused on getting celebrities to endorse her campaign, and also they kind of focus on the fact that she is a Black and a female. And honestly, I don't think that was the best line for her. Yes, her being elected would have been an amazing feat for Black women in the US and even all around in the world, but they were not supposed to like focus on that because it was giving a diversity clause. In my own opinion, I'm one person that doesn't like to be employed or given a job or something just because I'm a Black, just because I'm a female. I want to be given the job, I want to be given the opportunity because I can do it as best as anybody that you see. So I don't know why they kind of focused on that, but I think that's one of the things that might have given them a bit of disadvantage. Also, the fact is that, like I said, they seem to be so much focused on having a lot of celebrities, especially entertainers, endorse them. Now, what was Megan Thee Stallion looking for at a political campaign? Honestly, I don't understand why she was there. I don't understand why some of the celebrities that were there. But I don't think she was appropriate for the campaign rally and everything. I just felt it was weird. And I saw some comment that saying that Kamala Harris and her team were more focused on making the campaign rally like a BET Awards show. And I'm like, this was some things that I know some people had talked about. There was a particular guy, Be Better, that talked about some things that people are now saying. But when he said it, because I think he's a Canadian and he's white, people just dragged him to field and canceled him. And I think he's not even on TikTok anymore. But some of those things that he said were actually the things that people are saying, oh, he was right. This was what was going on.
Hi, so I have a master's degree in business, and today I'm going to use it to analyze the marketing strategy of Kamala Harris's campaign, and ultimately why I believe if she continues with the horrible marketing strategy she has been employing, why she will ultimately end up losing the presidency to Donald Trump. So obviously this is a highly emotional and contentious topic for a lot of people, but the reason why I did want to speak on it is that I think there's a lot of parallels to be drawn between the marketing of a product and the marketing of a political candidate. And while I wish that wasn't the case, because I wish that politics was less of an exercise in personal branding and more of a deeper discussion on substantive policies that will actually be impacting the everyday lives of human beings, that just simply is not the case. And although I'm not American, I am Canadian. Your elections have consequences for the entire world, so I think anybody that wants to put their 2 cents in is allowed to. So based on my objective analysis, I believe that Kamala Harris's campaign is built upon very flawed marketing strategy that is very heavily relying on superficial social media engagement, identity politics, and a highly crafted and tightly controlled public image of her persona that is so far removed from the reality of who she is and so socially and media engineered to the point that it is essentially a house of cards that is doomed to collapse. So the first marketing strategy that Kamala Harris is employing, and we are all collectively experiencing it whether we realize it or not, is the blank slate strategy. This is essentially where she is being intentionally vague and ambiguous in the language that she uses and the way that she appears publicly in order to take advantage of the psychological phenomenon of projection. Because if you are extremely vague and generic and say some of the right words without specifically committing to policies or being very clear about what your values are, human beings will simply project onto you what they want to see. Progressives will see her as extremely progressive and forward-thinking. More moderate voters will see her as somebody that's a little bit more measured, and you can kind of see reasoning behind why they're doing it. I don't think it's completely stupid, but I think it is doomed to fail because although it is working in the short term, she's going to eventually be put into scenarios like debates where she will be forced to take firm stances on topics, and because she hasn't done that intellectual work to decide where she really lands on these important issues, she may end up looking unqualified for the job.
What's wild to me is that Be Better was basically shamed and canceled off the internet for saying very objectively correct things about Kamala Harris's campaign. And they weren't even just his opinions. He was acknowledging things that the mainstream media was even saying about her campaign. And people were so upset, they got their panties in a knot, they accused him of being a Trumper, all of this stuff, he apologized, it was a mess. But now, Trump is leading in basically all of the polls, he's leading by a huge margin in the betting market, and it's because of the reasons that Be Better laid out. Her campaign had a ton of energy from the get-go, but her team did not do a good job of keeping that going. He was right, she needed to be doing interviews, she needed to be answering the hard questions, which she was not. And she started doing that way too late. Trump already had the momentum, and people were just fed up. And it's insane to me that somebody could be attacked that brutally online for not even talking about policy or politics, but just having an opinion about how a campaign is run.
And at that time, he said it. I feel like instead of the backlash that he got, the team was supposed to have gone to approach him and say, okay, how do you think we can change this? Or even if they don't approach him, they could have just like looked at it and try and see what people were saying, if they were in agreement, or just tweak things to change it. Maybe the results would have been different, but it is what it is. Another thing that I think made Donald Trump win, even though I'm an African, even though I understand the plight of immigrants, I've looked at some comments and I've seen that quite a lot of people are having a problem with illegal immigrants. And this is not just a race thing, it's cutting across all races. I've seen comments from white, I've seen comments from blacks, and they don't like the fact that illegal immigrants get resources that they, the citizens, and legal migrants have no access to. I saw a particular video where a lady was crying and saying that she was sending a message to the team of Kamala Harris and that they should explain why illegal immigrants can afford to do some certain things, and she, a veteran, cannot afford to get those things because they tell her she doesn't qualify, but someone that is an illegal immigrant is qualifying for those things. And I don't know if that is entirely true, but I know that quite a lot of people have an issue with that. And as much as I want to consider immigrants, I also have to think like a practical person. No leader of a country is going to want to put others before their own citizens. It's not logical. Most times, they want to put the welfare of their citizens above others. Their citizens come first. And if you are listening to a lot of people and people are having issues with illegal immigrants, if you say you're going to tackle illegal immigrants and you've done it before or you've done some things to tackle it, people are going to vote for you. That's the thing. And with Donald Trump is crazy. I don't like him as a person. But the thing is, he talks what he wants to do and doesn't care who's annoyed or who is hurt. And most of the time, he would push forward to do it. Now, with Kamala Harris saying, I will do this, I will do that, another thing people were talking about is the fact that she is from this present government and they do not do it. So why should I believe you that you will do it if you are the president? And some people say, oh, she's the vice president, but she's not the president. I thought the president and the vice president are supposed to be in collaboration with each other and they're supposed to do things that would move the country forward. That's why the vice president is supposed to be someone that can really work with the president is supposed to be someone that has a synergy with the president, so they are complementing each other, they are helping each other to achieve their goals. I think that's one of the things that I loved about Joe Biden and Barack Obama. They were so good together, in my own opinion. They looked like they were brothers, they looked like they were doing things on point, they were complementing each other. So a lot of people do not understand how she's now saying she's going to do things differently when she has been a part of this government. So that was one thing that a lot of people said worked against her. That was one thing a lot of people said why people did not vote for her. Now, for Africans outside the US, quite a lot of people are happy that Donald Trump won. A lot of people are like really happy that Democrats lost in the US, because people feel like Democrats don't really want African countries to grow, to become better. They feel like they try to like impose their own values, their own norms, and try to support corrupt government because they feel like it would help their own government. And they feel like with Donald Trump is not really going to like interfere with some things, and he's not going to give back into some corrupt government. Because I remember the time where Niger, one of the neighboring countries of Nigeria, kicked out their president that was really like backed by the France government, and they like sent everybody packing, like French military, I think even US military, and I learned that they have like a facility in Niger, and people were saying that the Democrats government, Biden, Harris, were trying to get Nigerian president that we don't like, that they feel like he's backed by the Democrat government, because they feel like the present Nigerian government will favor them in doing some things. They feel like they were trying to pressurize the Nigerian government to launch an attack on Niger government and cause another war that we as Nigerians don't think we can afford at this time. We have a lot of problems, and there is no need to go and interfere in another person's business when they're trying to make their country be better, because the amount of atrocity that France government has done on some of these colonized countries, even in 2024, is amazing. Like, how are you expecting these countries to still be giving you money, to be paying their income or something into a French account? I don't understand. The things that I read was just outrageous. So them trying to get out of the shackles of the French government, and then Nigeria trying to say, no, you must not, you must do things, because they were being pushed by the Democrat government. So there are other countries that have similar opinion about the Democrat government, Harris and Biden. So they are really, really happy that Donald Trump is going to be the next president. They feel like for the next 4 years, we might be able to do something. We might be able to kick out some corrupt government officials or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's the thoughts of some Africans about the election result and Donald Trump winning. Anyway, another reason people thought that Kamala Harris lost is because she is a female, and they feel like the US is not ready for a female president. I don't really think that is a reason, but it might be a reason why some people do not vote her. But I feel like if there is a female that ticks all the boxes, Americans are not going to say she's a female, she should not be president. They will vote for her. But it seems like all the female candidates that the Democrats are putting forward always have an issue that some people cannot get past it. So what do you feel about the whole situation, the whole election result? What do you think about the reasons that people have given for Kamala Harris not winning the election? What do you think? What do you think about Donald Trump winning the election? What do you think about the whole situation in general? Please leave your comment in the comment section. I would love to know what you think about this whole situation. But please, when leaving your comment, please be respectable. I know that this topic is a hot topic and people can get passionate, but let's just keep it mellow, let's keep it respectable, state your points, and don't trash talk anybody. So please leave your comment in the comment section. I would love to read about your own opinion about this whole situation and this video in general. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not yet subscribed and you like videos such as this, please consider subscribing by clicking on the red button that says subscribe, and don't forget to click on the bell notification icon by the side so that you're notified anytime I upload videos. Now, with all that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.